there's a really rich community where you can actually have a voice in what it is that we build next. Another question here, is there a way to link to a NAS device? Yes, absolutely. A variety of ways you can map to NAS, but so long as you've got, the most common way people do it is map a network share, or just back it up straight across the network using a UNC path. So the SOS technology can back up from a UNC path. So yeah, that's the most common way that people will back up from a NAS. Are there modules for SQL and Exchange available? The software itself can be directed to back up raw SQL and Exchange files, but we don't recommend that at all. What we've got instead is a service. We've got the technology, but we've got a service that we sell called CES, Complex Environment Support. And for $25 a month, basically we take over the management of an individual server. So if you're consulting with your customers, and you've got a CES license with us, then we will manage the backup and recovery on that particular server for $25 a month. And most of our partners love that service because they can't do it for anything cheaper than $150 a month. So it's that's really our focus when it comes to complex environments, SQL, Exchange, Oracle. Any limitations, next question, any limitations for any specific OS, old network, NetWare, Linux, etc.? No specific limitations. So long as you can, so we don't have a native Linux client or Unix client. So what we use Samba over the network or any other network sharing technology. So long as you can give a Windows machine on your network read access to the data in question, then we can back it up. So usually what people will do is they'll designate one of their machines or a virtual machine as their backup server, install SOS on that one machine, and then have it go out across the network and pull all the data into it, and then back it up from there. That's the most common way people will deploy into a hybrid environment. Next question, do we support open file backup? Yes, we do. On every OS except Windows 2000. So XP, Vista, Win7, Win2K3, Win2K8, all covered with open file backup. Do you back up PSTs? Yes, PSTs is, Outlook PST is probably one of the most common types of files we back up in our system. I don't have the statistics in my hands, but last time we looked at this, PSTs were a very, very significant percentage of the types of files that we back up. Next question, is the SEC service offered as a white label service? CES, Complex Environment Support, Mike, and yes it is. So typically what would happen is you'd deal with your customers, you would sell them a managed server backup solution, and you might charge them $1,500 for the year, and then you would work with us, give us access to the machine, and then we would take it over and just work for you. So we wouldn't deal with the client, we'd deal with you. So you can think of it as, we're basically wholesaling the labor and the technology to you. You don't have to worry about software licenses. You don't have to worry about the labor. We're providing all of it in a fully managed service for you. Next question, so we invoice our own customers and then you invoice us. That's one way to do it. We've got 3 different billing solutions. So one is where we bill your customers. Say, let's say you don't have e-commerce functionality set up, you want to take credit cards, then we'll provide you with a shopping cart to do that. So in that model, we bill the customer and remit to you. Second model is what you said there, Ray, the most common model. You bill your customer and then we bill you, and they're 2 completely separate relationships. And then the third most common billing solution is integrating with that billing API. So you basically hook into our API to provision accounts and upgrade them. And then beyond that, really the billing relationship with the customer is something that you then handle completely on your own. Hope that makes sense. Question from Brian. Does it have file-level incremental backups on hypervisors, support for VMware, Hyper-V, etc.? Brian, are you referring to, in this configuration, are you running the backup on the host machine to back up VMs, or are you talking about running the VMs within the are you talking about running the backup software within the VMs? Okay. So Brian's saying to back up the VMs. Depends on the size of the VMs, Brian. Yes. So Well, okay, we've got to talk about Hyper-V and we've got to talk about VMware separately, because obviously with VMware, with ESX server, we can't install on the host. The host's a bare metal Linux OS that VMware doesn't give us access to. So in that case, you've got to make the VMDKs available over the network, and we'll back them up from a different machine on the network. I hope that makes sense. When it comes to Hyper-V, you can install SOS on the core Win2K8 server and then back up the Hyper-V files. Brian's saying Veritas can do file-level incremental backups on ESX. Okay, sure, Veritas does lots of things. Veritas is also extremely expensive and doesn't do a lot of the other stuff we're talking about here, specifically the mobile and the management. So Veritas has bolted Online Backup into their solution, but it's still not a true online backup solution. So for certain environments, Veritas and IBM and HP have all got very good high-end solutions, but for mass market deployments, SOS is much better for something to be deployed across the organization. So what we'll often see is you'll see SOS be deployed into a large enterprise, and you'll use SOS on, say, all the laptops and all the workstations and some of the servers, and then there'll be other backup solutions in place for pointed areas of the data center. Brian says, market needs an SOS-style solution for VMware. Yeah, VMware makes it very, very difficult to work with them on a solution like this. So the best that I think that any vendor can do in this market is get access to the data across the network and back it up to the cloud the way we do. That does work. Integrating it perfectly into the VMware infrastructure is very, very difficult with the pace of the API changes at VMware and the licensing restrictions that they've got. So it's certainly something we want to see happen, but it's something that's very difficult to do at the moment. Robert says, we would want to put a presentation together for our local chamber and its members. Would we have an SOS rep available for an online presentation similar to this for the end companies? Absolutely. That's we love doing that. It's actually no disrespect intended to our partners, but often our partners get a little gung-ho and a little overconfident at the beginning of launching this type of product. What we recommend is that for the first few months of selling online backup, you bring us in and we'll actually be your backup specialist. We won't disclose ourselves that we're from SOS, but we'll do those presentations for you over the wire in a webinar style format, and then you can be on the ground to actually talk to the customers and take orders. So delivering a webinar like this to prospective customers like that is a really powerful way to go. All right, well, we've just hit the end of the time allotment for today's webinar, so thank you very much for attending. I hope we answered questions that you've got. If you, in terms of getting access to the software or access to the Partner Resource Center or getting an ROI model built, I really do recommend you call in and talk to one of the partner team. That number toll-free is 877-896-3611. or direct dial +1 310 878 2626. Thank you very much for your time and have a great day.